Good morning, happy Monday or Sunday if it is for you guys. I hope you have a beautiful start to today. We're going to be starting this episode in just a couple of minutes, doing some jiving to the fooies while we wake up. I reckon we could be a few humans out there that are battling a couple of cheeky hangovers this morning from yesterday's party. Let us know if that's you in the comments. And make sure if you do watch this one live, guys, you do come in and say hi. We're going to be kickstarting this in 2 minutes, and it's going to be a big episode of Monday Mindset. So, good morning, Tezza. How are you, mate? How are you actually feeling, brother? Good morning, Nikki girl. How are you, mate? Look, all the kings are here. This is so good. Nikki, we missed you at the day yesterday. It's a real shame that you couldn't actually get there, Nikki. Maybe next time. We had a few people come in all the way from Orange, which was an absolute killer. So to guys like Luke Durham and Danny Troutman, you guys are absolute legends. I appreciate you guys being there. It was so sick. Good morning, Bobby Gordon. How are you, mate? Fantastic to see you there yesterday, dude. Gosh, you're looking good, Bobby. The knee's giving you a bit of a wobble, mate, but you were looking very good, mate. Christy, how are you, girl? No hangover. Wow. I'm proud of you, Christy, because you were around a lot of tempting humans. Chriso says, howdy, fresh as a daisy. Nice one, Chriso. Good morning, Danny boy. How are you, my brother? My little legend. I'm coming up your way soon, Dan, so I can't wait to see you, brother. And Scotty Thornton, fantastic to catch you yesterday, mate. Let's get this episode started in 1 minute, guys. So we're coming live across a bunch of platforms. I think we're in about 8 or 10 platforms right now. So super stoked. So definitely next time, Nikki says, good to see. Good morning, Barney. How are you, mate? Fantastic to catch up with you and your beautiful daughter yesterday, mate. It was truly beautiful, brother. So guys, welcome to another Monday. We're going to get started with this episode in 30 seconds as we make way for some sound. And this is going to be a big episode, I think. So feel free to comment along. I've got a couple of questions that I might ask inside of this podcast. So feel free to answer in the comments as we play along. And we are about good to go. So if you do watch this one later on, guys, make sure that you hashtag replay so that I know that you're getting value from the podcast. And let's get started, I think. So on the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast. This is the podcast that you come to if you are sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about rewriting your story. But first, if you're noticing a little bit of a smile on the face watching live, it is because we just finished our client event yesterday. It had been in the planning for a long period of time. It was so difficult to do it between Claudia being pregnant with Ocean and not knowing our schedule, and also obviously the COVID restrictions. But we finally got it done, and it was a very, very proud moment for me. You can imagine. To all of you that sent texts through, I just want to say thank you. I hope that you guys had a good day. It was certainly a belter of a day for me. Just seeing all those friendly faces around and hugging each other and working out together. I think at the top of it, we had around 70 people. Sorry, just giving Cords the message to turn the sound off. I think we had about 70 people. It was sick, and no doubt you guys obviously partied into the wee hours of the morning. So I hope it was a good day. I hope you're waking up feeling re-energized about both your community and your own personal transformation this morning. On another note, to those of you that are in Queensland or northern New South Wales, given that we are moving up that way today, so we're going north today, we'd really like to do some kind of a client catch-up on a little bit of a smaller scale, some sort of a a stomp or something up towards maybe Noosa or Byron or something like that. It's just going to depend on whether or not the weather holds off for us. So on that note, let's step into what I want to discuss today. First, I remit to shout out Dylan's gym at First Class Fitness in Yamina. Thank you, Dylan, for holding our event. It was super, super generous of you to give us complete lockout of the gym, mate. So thank you so, so much. And we're going to be putting up some awesome posts later on today. So let's talk about rewriting your story. One of the things that I've noticed when I've started to tell people are asking us, okay, so what's going on? What's your plan for the next, couple of months while you're here in Australia? And the first thing that we've been saying to people, because it's what we're doing, is moving up the coast, okay? We're going to be doing a little bit of a trip up to Port Macquarie tonight, then staying in Byron for about a week, and then Noosa for a couple of weeks before coming back down. And this is off the back of in end of March, we've actually just booked a 1-week trip to Fiji. All the time we're going to be working, and this is the benefit of being able to work remotely. We're going to be working, but so many times when I was telling people, the first thing that their response is, oh, you're going to have a lot of problems with the rain up there and you're going to get flooded in. I'm fucking sick of hearing it, to be honest. Sure, New South Wales, Northern New South Wales and Queensland has copped an absolute battering. We all know that. This rain period at the moment absolutely sucks. But it made me think a little bit more about the power of entertaining a negative thought. And here's the key point. Humans always tend to talk about the negative shit. They talk about the negative shit. And it's not because we as humans are evil. It's simply because we just gravitate towards negativity. That's just the way it is. And so what happens is we entertain these negative stories over and over and over again. Now, I'm maybe using a very shallow example here, but we've got a trip planned. We've been looking forward to doing this for a long period of time. And if I stay stuck on, oh my God, it's going to be raining the whole time, I can guarantee you that my thoughts are going to bring on the rain. Yesterday, we met up at a coffee shop, right? It's been pouring all freaking week. And we met up at a coffee shop before our client event. Did anyone notice it raining? It was beautifully sunny. It was lovely. It was the perfect weather. Yet all week, I'm sure everyone was thinking, well, what's the wet weather plan? How's it going to work? What if we get rained on? Blah, 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 blah. This negative thought continues to propagate in our minds, and most often we are unaware of it. Now, I want to give you another example. What's going on in the Ukraine at the moment? I'm sure everyone's across it and aware that Russia has invaded the Ukraine. And if we pay attention to the news stories around this story, let's face it, this is a crisis. This is a crisis, and it makes me sick that humans have to still, in this modern age of technology, go to this level. But at the same account, if I spend all my time watching the news, sucking up this negative thought pattern about war and death and horrible shit happening to kids, do you think that is going to impact your mindset? I see these people that see news as education, but actually when you think about it, the news is basically death, 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 weather, sport, happy feel-good story to try to end it on a good note. You've got to control the information that you feed your brain. I noticed myself this morning when I was having my morning poo, scrolling through news.com.au and reading the stuff around Russia and just thinking to myself, this is making me feel really, really, really bad. In the last episode called The Company We Keep, we might remember that the core reason that we are influenced so much by our surroundings is because of the thoughts and the conversations and the stories that are happening in those surroundings. And so what happens is you're in a goldfish bowl with a bunch of other goldfish. And if you are the biggest goldfish in that bowl and the stories in that bowl are the same shit over and over again, you are eventually going to become the stories. You look at the contrast for us yesterday, and do you think that a few of us rewrote our story yesterday or broke the pattern yesterday, doing that workout together, spending that time together? So let me ask you a question, and I want you to actually stop and think about this question that I'm asking you now. What is your story? What is your story? You as an individual, what is your story? If I was to ask you that question, feel free to let me know in the comments. What is your story? Because I think the biggest problem in changing your story is not consciously understanding that you had a story that you've been telling yourself over and over and over and over again. So you can't fix what you don't know is broken. Maybe your story is that I'm always going to have no money. I'm always going to struggle. Or maybe your story is my mum was overweight, my dad was overweight, my pop died of a heart attack, diabetes runs in my family. That's my story. Maybe your story is, well, I've always been in shitty relationships, and that's just always how it's been. So to clarify, we're talking about your current story. What is your current story? What are you subconsciously telling yourself? What is your story? When I ask you the question, what is your story? What would you say? Whatever you think about becomes your operating program. It becomes your habits. So another good question to ask yourself is, in my story, in my life, am I a victim or am I the captain? Am I a victim or am I the captain? This might be the first time you've been challenged on looking at yourself like this. Now, this is not to say that I don't have negative parts to my story. I most certainly do. The question is, are you aware of the things that you are telling yourself? Most of us are simply not aware. We never realize the source of our problem is the story. Guys, I want you to go back to, for those of you that were in attendance yesterday at the client event, during the depths of our workouts, I could see a few stories being told to ourselves. The stories about, this is hard. Oh, this sucks. This is like, I'm tired. Whoa, man, I've never done weights before to this level. Oh, man, this is tough. Wow, this is going a long time. Wow, this is exhausting. Can you guys remember what I did? I could see that there was some stories being told in the mindsets of ourselves. And what we did was brought everyone in to a small, tight ring, and we broke the story with a chain breaker. We broke the story by changing what we were doing. So we were in momentum of either going round a weights or a strength circuit. And then when I caught on and I saw a few faces which were telling themselves, oh man, this is hard, this is tough, I said, stop, let's form a ring around us here and let's do something together for 30 seconds. How did you feel after we did that 30 seconds? Yeah, tired. But see what happens when you consciously break the story. I was able to see it from the outside, and so I stepped in, got you guys into a circle, we smacked out a massive group effort, we broke the pattern, and then we headed back to our stations and continued on. That's exactly what we have to do in our own life. We have to first become aware that we're telling ourselves a story, and then we need to consciously break the pattern. It has to be a conscious pattern break. You see these people that are homeless guys on the side of the road, and they are talking to themselves, and that you see them vocalizing. and they're talking to themselves and they're going blah, 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 and they're rattling off a story, and you're thinking to yourself, man, that dude's crazy. But let me ask you a question. Don't you do exactly the same thing? Only that you don't verbalize it? Only that you don't say it out loud? That's a challenging thought, isn't it? You're exactly the same as the homeless guy, taking the story over and over again, only that you don't verbalize it. And so now we recognize that it's this recurring story that's happening about how we're a victim to our circumstances. We are now in a position where we can actually do something about it, where we can change something. And the only way to do this is to consciously interrupt the story. And we say to ourselves, Erin, this is a story that you do not need to tell yourself anymore. Like, just cut this garbage story. This is just a story that's in my head. There might be parts to the story that suck, which are true, and there are hiccups in our life that we need to deal with. But which do you think that we're going to be better equipped to deal with it? If we're in an empowered position or we're in a disempowered victim position? Whatever our circumstances are, we have to step up to the plate and interrupt the pattern, interrupt the story that's happening over and over again. Now, when you do this consciously, it takes time, and you will get frustrated when you catch yourself telling yourself the same old story over and over again. You'll get super frustrated. But if you keep interrupting the story over and over and over and over and over again, the power to which this story controls you will start to reduce. It will start to decrease because you are interrupting it more and more and more and more times. When you take away the power from the story, you take away the power of the story to control you. Now, a lot of people say, this sounds like a lot of hard work. It's a fucking lot of hard work. Of course it's a lot of hard work. But this is why most people don't get what they want in life, because they don't want to do the hard work towards interrupting their story and changing their story. And when I look at some of the people in our academy that have completely overhauled their story, whether they consciously understand this or not, here is the way it's happened. They've got fed up with getting the same thing over and over again. And so what they've started to do is say, I've had enough of this thing. I've had enough of this thing. No, I'm done with this thing. And it takes time and it takes patience. And this is the reason why you might be able to change your nutrition in 16 weeks. You might be able to start training and walking consistently in 16 weeks. But it takes a whole lot longer to rewrite your story. You might finish off with the question, how long does it actually take? I would say that it would probably be dependent on the depths of your wounds. It would probably be dependent on the depth of your trauma. It would probably be dependent on the number of generations to which this story has embedded in your conditioning and the conditioning of your family. What I can tell you is that it takes a long time to write a really good book. And I know this because I've written a very average one, and it took me 2 years. 2 freaking years. So to write a really, really good book might take you 5 to 10 years. And if the first thought that comes to your mind is, oh my gosh, like that's just so much effort. That's the problem. That's the story again coming up. We have to interrupt this pattern, team. Does this make sense? Hopefully this Monday mindset has hit the point. I want you guys to go into this new week with some conscious awareness off the back of what was a fantastic, empowering client event, and tackle this week with some conscious awareness around, yeah, you're right. Okay, let me start to look at my story this week as a third person. What am I telling myself on a daily basis, which is a fabrication, which is a garbage story, which is a recycled thing that has happened that my dad or mum used to say, but I've just inherited, even though there's no truth to that story. It's just literally a story. Guys, when you learn to change the story, you learn to change both the outcomes of your life and how you feel, how empowered you actually are. Guys, this has been the Better Body Academy podcast, coming to you probably a little bit hangy for a couple of you on this Monday morning. I hope you have a beautiful week. Let's catch up through the week. I love and appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching.